this ending the Hamas infrastructure. America is with Israel, it says. Is it as easy as it looks, or is this only going to get far more complicated in the days to come? Taraji, I'll come to you after Glenn's comments. Yes, Glenn.
Ending Hamas's infrastructure is the issue. Well, this has been the eternal problem for Israel, from Israel's perspective, from the creation of Hamas decades ago. It's an exceptionally difficult task to achieve, independent of 2.5 million Palestinians sitting, living, struggling between Hamas and the IDF, the Israeli army. And an incursion, an invasion by the Israelis into Gaza, under any circumstances, will cause most Muslims to explode in rage, whatever the justifications. Even if that were not the case, the challenge for the Israelis is immense, because the people in Hamas are not complete idiots, and they won't sit out in the open to let themselves be detained or killed. They will melt into the population, as they always have. They will hide under and behind the population. They literally have 500 or 700 kilometers of tunnels in under Gaza, which are a tremendous tactical problem to overcome. So it's hard to imagine how the IDF can succeed in short of causing absolute catastrophic harm to innocent people in the objective that the Israeli government has set. I think that it's a laudable one. Hamas is not really a responsible representative of the Palestinian people, but they're the ones in charge. They're the ones with guns and rockets. But I don't see how the IDF can do it without causing what we're seeing. And I'm not talking about the hospital explosion, which I think pretty convincingly has been showed not to have been from anything the Israelis have done. But the consequences are catastrophic, and guaranteed to infuriate even more the Palestinians, which is not the Israeli objective.
No, but then, Glenn, are you trying to say that a sovereign nation is at a disadvantage and a terrorist outfit is in a situation where heads they win, tails they lose? So heads they fire rockets which land on Israel, tails the rockets land on the innocent people, and then they spin the story to their advantage. How is this a solution? Because somewhere somebody has to stand up and say we reject the Hamas altogether, and both Israeli and Palestinian people have to do it simultaneously, and the world has to say that we got to weed this outfit out. If two nations' heads are saying that ISIS looks rational in front of the Hamas, then we have a serious problem, Glenn Carle.
Well, this is a conventional military is a poor tool to address fundamentally a terrorism problem, one, and two, a sociological, political, theological, cultural problem. And the issue is all of those. However, conventional counter-terrorist methods can parry, can stop specific attacks, can perhaps slowly eliminate or undermine a leadership. But Israelis' services are superb and have not succeeded any more than my colleagues and I succeeded in 20 years of, quote, the war on terror. Well, the expression that was used among my colleagues very quickly was playing a game of whack-a-mole. It means when an animal pokes his head above the soil, you knock it down and you think you succeeded, but then there are 500 other holes. You cannot succeed that way. The issue is fundamentally political and cultural, and certainly any country has to respond to the kind of horror that occurred in Israel, perpetrated by Hamas, but the solutions are unlikely to be successful done by conventional military means.
Because it's out there for everybody to see that the Hamas have literally dominated proceedings, and there's nothing democratic about what's happening there since 2006, 2007, ever since they've assumed power. And they've established infrastructure under the tall structures because they operate out of the tunnels underneath. So it's not easy to break this down. The other thing is...
It's important to remember
Yes.
It's important to remember what is the nature of Hamas as distinct from the aspirations of the Palestinians.
Yes.
These are not the same things.
Exactly.
Hamas was created, part of its charter calls for the killing of every Jew, everywhere. Hamas is part of its charter, its mission, its obligation, its sacred mission is to destroy Israel. There is no coexistence possible under the framework that Hamas believes in. The Palestinians, the PLO, the authority in the West Bank, have, most of them, different aspirations. Now, many Muslims and Palestinians wish that Israel didn't exist. But most today are willing to accept that either we struggle to live together or there's no solution except for endless death. That is not the case of Hamas. And I make one other distinction.
Right.
We're blaming Hamas for the blowing up of the destruction in the hospital, the hideous event last night. Now, Hamas is exploiting it. They aren't stupid. It's obviously, instantaneously, we've seen it has already inflamed the entire Muslim world against Israel. But that was apparently not Hamas. The Islamic Jihad in the Gaza Strip is a different organization, equally hideous, but separate from Hamas. It's smaller, weaker, but there are about still 1,000